It's time for the Las Vegas Sportsline.
Money won is twice as sweet as money earned.
All right, here we go. The Friday edition of the Las Vegas Sportsline. We wrap up the week in style. Teddy Covers is here. Ted Savransky, Kelly Stewart, at Kelly in Vegas will join us. Ari Platinum's producing the show. I'm Dave Cokin, and we've got a great special guest today. I'm really looking forward to this. Chris Andrews, one of the legends in the bookmaking industry, going back 4 decades, has written a book, which you can pre-order now at Amazon. We'll find out more about that later on, and it's going to be a real kick to have Chris on the show later on. Maybe we'll get a couple of good stories out of him, Teddy.
Yeah, and, more than a legendary odd maker, he's a good guy.
Oh, he is, yeah.
That's, yeah, he's a legend. He's a legend, yeah, but that doesn't matter. It matters whether you like him or not, and Chris is a very easy guy to hang out with.
I don't know anybody who doesn't like Chris.
There's got to be somebody. We'll ask him.
Okay.
You can ask him.
Thanks a lot. I don't know. A lot of people don't like the Raptors right now.
If they bet them, they didn't like them.
They got whacked last night in Philadelphia. You know, when we talked about really all year about the 76ers squad, that on paper, when they're right, can compete with anybody. Unfortunately, they're not right all the time, and they've been very inconsistent. But that was an impressive showing last night, and they now lead this series 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, when Embiid dominates and Simmons finds everybody, they're a really good team, and the star power is there. And, of course, for Toronto, Kyle Lowry again. I mean,
boy, is he bad in the playoffs.
I mean,
I don't know how else to put it. He's just chips are down. Kyle is as well. He's just not very good in big games.
No, and that was certainly the case last night. Bad from start to finish, non-factor on the offensive end, eaten up on the defensive end, and the issue for Toronto is not just Lowry's getting alive. Van Vliet's having a terrible series too,
and really don't have much else off the bench.
When we think about what made Toronto so special during the regular season, why they were the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference, because of their depth.
Yeah.
And that bench is vanished in this series. It's gone.
And that's the guy they really need off the bench, because he would be their 6th man, right?
Sure. So, I mean, Ibaka's played well, and Powell, defensively, Powell's been all right, but that trio has to step up. Game in, game out for Toronto, because that's their edge.
Good news for him is they're only down 1 game.
Sure.
I mean, if they can get back game 4, they've got home court advantage back, and they become the favorite in the series once again. The interesting thing is, look, we know where the line was last night. So what do you do with the line in the next game? Because it's tough to make Philadelphia not a favorite.
They're not
in this game, and yet they're not. And they look like the better team right now. I know they lost the first game, but that was. To me, it was Toronto was maybe so determined to finally have a good game 1, and they were playing a team they've really done very well against. Now, Philadelphia's gotten rid of that albatross.
That we can't win in Toronto.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And, boy, they looked confident last night. And, look, I'm not an NBA guy, so I'll defer to you on this, but my first impulse would be to take Toronto in Game 4. I don't know that I'm comfortable with it.
Sure. You want to take Toronto in Game 4? You're thinking zigzag, that it's going to zigzag back the other way. You just told me that Philly's the better team.
Toronto. I don't think Toronto's the better team. You know what I think is that Philly, more than anybody, and this is just looking at Philly, and maybe they're maturing here, but they're the team that's capable of going completely in the opposite direction off of a couple of brilliant performances, because they're Philly.
I think the Raptors are the same way, and we've seen that. Raptors played well in Game 1, and that's
That's why I don't do the NBA.
Yeah, that's what they have. But make no mistake about it, they're still Toronto money. This series, in a sense, reminds me of OKC Portland.
Right.
Where after a couple games, it was, guess what? OKC's not right. They're not,
Portland's better than they are.
Right. So right now, Philly looks better than Toronto. Okay, but the markets keep saying, no, look at the stats for the Raptors. Look at the stats for the Thunder. You're not going to catch me with my money on Toronto on Sunday.
Bruins and Avalanche. Both winners last night, down 2-1, and they came through on their, one on the road and the other at home. The Bruins, that was an exciting game. I mean, I know it was low scoring, but it doesn't have to be a high-scoring game to be exciting in the NHL. And these two teams were up and down the ice last night. The Bruins had, I think, about 45 shots on goal. Columbus wasn't far behind. And Bruins get the action, get the money. 2-1, and I think they had the action as well. I think the sharper players were on Boston last night and got rewarded with a win.
Yeah, but the home favorite split in the two games, and that's been fairly typical for the entirety of the NHL playoffs. More underdogs have won than favorites. Forget the plus price.
Not surprising because home ice
isn't worth anything.
Many times it's just not worth as much in the NHL as in other leagues.
So how come no one's talking about a strategy? You just blindly play the dog in every game, in every NHL playoff game.
Because then
why don't the markets do that?
You can have series like Carolina and the Islanders where it kind of looks maybe the Islanders get them tonight and stay alive. But I don't know. Yeah, to me, I guess if you're a blind player, that's probably not a bad idea. But we don't do that.
No,
and by and large, blind playing doesn't work. So you're finding one circumstance where it seems to be working. That can turn around, I suppose. I can tell you one thing: Colorado wasn't. The road dog wasn't getting the money in that game. Boy, the Avalanche. Not a great start last night, but they kept the puck. They kept San Jose from getting the puck in the net, and then the Avalanche really took over in the second and third periods. They were real good last night.
And this is one that you were worried about. You bet the Avs before the series started, and down 2-1.
Yeah,
that was a game that they had to have.
Yep.
But the fact that they got it, has that turned the tide in the series? Do you think Colorado...
I don't know. I mean, if they play like they did last night, nobody's beating them. But there's nobody playing that consistent at level in the NHL where you can say, well, they're going to do that again. So, it's just, to me, it's just a best-of-3 series that kind of looks like a coin flip to me. So I don't mind having a plus 130 or so on the Avalanche.
And that's what the markets are at right now with on the series price. San Jose minus 120, minus 125. So you have a nice plus price in your pocket. The market's expecting Colorado to be live to win at least one remaining game in San Jose.
Would love it to be Game 5 because I wouldn't mind being at home in Game 6 with that crowd going nuts and a chance to close out the Sharks, who have been very opportunistic but weren't last night.
Although the Sharks did that here.
Yep.
So let's not sell them short of their capability.
No, I'm definitely not. San Jose's got that look about them this year. We'll see. Friday 4 at 4 time, brought to you by MJ Christensen.
1, 2, 3 into the 4.
Put them fours up. Put the fours up, I said. Do it right now.
Tonight's action is just around the bend, and the guys want to get your night off to a great start.
4.
It's the Las Vegas Sportsline's 4 at 4.
Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4. Unbelievable.
And unbelievable is the only way to describe the prices on diamonds at MJ Christensen. They're not going to get undersold. It's as simple as that. Cliff Miller is bound and determined to make you the best deal on your jewelry items. They got some great specials on watches going on this month as well. Stop down to their store at Boca Park. Enjoy the surroundings, enjoy the staff, and walk out of the store with something brand new that you're going to absolutely love for a long, long time. Bucks and Celtics. We're going to save by the way, the Warriors-Rockets don't play until tomorrow. But that's the marquee matchup in the NBA, so it'll be our marquee matchup as well. Tonight, however, we've got two games, Bucks and Celtics. And the Celtics, after doing what they needed to do, getting one of the two games at Milwaukee, return home. This looks like a series to me that's going 7 games. Yep. I mean, it really does.
It does. And game 1, game 2, complete zigzag.
Yep.
Boston, they romped the first game. That was a bad game. The Bucks hadn't played a bad game in a while. They had a clunker, and Milwaukee certainly came out with a very impressive second half in Game 2, that 24-2 third-quarter run, just taking over the game completely. So, in theory, it's bounce-back spot for Boston here. And, this is a bet-on quote. Kyrie Irving, quote, "This is what I signed up for. This is what Boston traded for me for, being able to go back in the trenches, get ready for another battle. This is what you live for. Basketball is fun when it comes like this, when you have to respond. This is the type of basketball you want to be playing this time of the year."
That sounds positive.
That's a bet-on quote for a guy that had a bad game, too, no question. But there is one question here before you get the window with Boston. Are the Bucks just the better of these two teams?
I think they're a little better, but it's a little better. I don't think it's a lot. And that's why I think it's a long series where we could be in Milwaukee for a 7th game.
I thought Milwaukee and Budenholzer in particular made really good adjustments in Game 2. Switching up Sterling Brown and Nikola Mirotic. And Mirotic is the X factor. When they got him, I'm like, this guy's going to win them a playoff series. I worry about him in Boston tonight. The Celtics at times have had some issues defensively, more than we'd expect from Brad Stevens' coach teams.
Maybe this is a 7-game series as well. Could be. Denver and Portland. Nuggets get game 1, and then the Nuggets basically could not shoot at all in game 2. And when you can't shoot at all, it's very difficult to win. And the Blazers go wire to wire in a pretty easy win for Portland. I think this is going to be the same thing. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same thing in Portland where you have a split, although this is where the Denver road problems could also come into play.
That being said, the Nuggets faced a must-win road spot in San Antonio in the first round. They got the job done. That was game 4, and that turned the whole series around against the Spurs. So it's not like they're not capable of winning road games. They were just so dominant at home this year that their road mediocrity stood out.
And now they're going into this is a very good home court. This is a tough home court, tough place to play. That crowd is going to be lit tonight.
And the scary thing for the Nuggets is that they lost wire to wire at home in game 2, and Damian Lillard didn't even have a good game.
No, he didn't. And that he doesn't have 2 in a row bad as a rule.
Yeah, not many. But we talked about it on air when we previewed this game on Wednesday, that this was the exhale spot for Denver. And they did. They exhaled. They were coming off a game 7 and then coming off a game 1 in less than 48 hours to prepare, and then another day on, one day on, day off. This team hasn't had a chance to breathe yet. And still now, Golden State, Houston's tomorrow night.
Yeah, funny how they set that up.
Yeah,
huh?
Denver, Portland's tonight, and that does not favor the Nuggets, in my opinion, not at all.
And Islanders and Hurricanes. We have a potential closeout tonight. The Islanders on fumes right now, 3-0 down going into Carolina. Nothing to lose for the Islanders, but what's left in the tank? I mean, I thought they threw everything but the kitchen sink at Carolina in Game 3 in the early going, and they couldn't get on the board. And the Hurricanes end up skating away with the win, and they're in complete control of the series. And I don't know if that crowd will let them let down tonight. Man, I'm telling you, that right now looks like the best home ice in the league. They're not used to this in Carolina, and they are making the most of it. I don't think the Islanders are going to lay down. Barry Trotz is too good a coach. They're going to go in there and look at this and say, look, we've played well enough to win any of these games. We just haven't. We get on the board tonight, we're back in it. But I don't know that they can get back in it. I would have to look at the Carolina side tonight. I didn't do it. Minus 130 was enough to keep me out of it. At pick 'em, I would have played the Hurricanes.
Yeah, and again, with all of these favorites in the NHL, they're so cheap because the dogs keep winning. But this isn't a dog that I trust, obviously. And frankly, Trotz won the Cup last year. He's no friend of ours. We don't
he's not.
see him go here.
That's right.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah, go home.
And in New York tonight, the Yankees are back home off a really, considering all the injuries, a spectacularly successful road trip.
Spectacular.
Yes. And they'll have James Paxton has been very good on the mound tonight, but he's facing the team with the best record in baseball right now, the Minnesota Twins.
Best record in the American League. The Cardinals.
Excuse me, the Cardinals lost today. So.
Oh, right, yeah. So now it's the best record in baseball.
Yes, Minnesota now at least has ascended temporarily to the throne on top of Major League Baseball. And they're doing it with good pitching, good hitting. Bullpen has come through when needed. Rocco Baldelli's pushing all the right buttons. And that's a big price for the Yankees. And Paxton's pitching great ball. And I don't like going against hot pitchers, so I'm not going with the Twins in this game. But I'm also not laying that kind of a price against a team playing this well.
And taking 3 out of 4 from Houston, that was a big series for Minnesota. And now you go on the heels of that to this second straight big series in the Bronx. Does momentum matter? The crowd's going to be roaring. I think that this circumstance and situation favors Minnesota in this ballgame. Off the confidence-inducing series with the huge crowd on hand.
And that first game back off a long and successful road trip can be an exhale spot for the Yankees.
It can, except that they lost their last 2.
Yeah.
However, the Yankees and Twins fall into a great angle that we'll talk about a little bit later
right.
in the show. That'll give us the winner of this game. We won't even have to think about it.
I think I saw 21-0. So you want to stick around for the Joe's Angle of the Day. Right now, we take to the phones and Kelly Stewart.
Hey.
At Kelly in Vegas joins us, and I have to tell you, I saw the video that you did for Wager Talk with Marco discussing the Derby. A fetching hat. You made a good choice, a very good choice, Kelly. That hat looked really good.
I basically Googled ugly Kentucky Derby hat, and that's what came up, and I bought it.
Man, that wasn't ugly.
Was it the first one that popped? You're like, that's the one.